Hmm. Yeah, let's see. We're in a different spot here. So, yeah, we're in a different spot. We're in the shop. You know what this is? This is, let's see if we can fix some lighting here. One of the things, um, I'm not going to, the lighting is not the greatest. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that. This is me leaving it at that. Yeah. Um, this is a black sugar. Can you see the sporks? There it is. There they are. Hank, good morning. See these little sporks? What we're not going to be able to pick up is so there's a whole bunch of lacquer checking on this, and and what's really so in this, it's black sugar, so it's got some flake. And if I hold this at certain angles, like the flake like catches the cracks and it just like lights them up. It's really, 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 really dope. This one is wait, I'm trying not to be that guy that just pulls the cord out because I never really, well, whatever. Um, so we've got a clear mahogany back. We've got super dope black sugary goodness. This is going to our pals at Lead Music in Geneva, Switzerland. I'm not gonna lie, I wish I was going with that guitar because everything that I've seen of Switzerland, which admittedly isn't a ton, but travel shows and what have you, looks pretty lovely. That's right, it looks pretty lovely, and yeah, so this will hopefully be out there in Switzerland living its best life. So that's what we say to that. Um, I realize I haven't done one of these in like months. Partially, I don't really know why. Um, and I apologize. You know, I was about to like, well, I apologize for the sound. Um, but like, whatever. This isn't fucking costing you anything. But like, I did bring my little mics, but apparently the batteries are dead. So, and I was gonna bring my AirPods, but I forgot. So, what are you gonna do, right? What are you gonna do? You're gonna You're gonna cope. You're gonna cooperate. I don't know. We're gonna get on. We're gonna get on with it. That's what we're going to do. Greg. Greg showers. Well, Greg, it is a good thing. Uh, you're getting caffeinated. I like that. That's good. I fully support that. Rodrigo is checking in from Chile via YouTube. What an exciting time. People all over the world saying hello, watching this ridiculousness. So, yeah, we've been busy. Everybody's busy, right? What are some highlights I can share? Well, I can tell you right now, I am in the middle of a project for a build for NAM that is challenging, which is good. And it's been a mix of, oh yeah, I can do this. And what am I doing? Why? Oh, don't do that. Oh, you did that. So I've been a little bit of that. And then there's a fair dose of, oh, how am I going to do that mixed in? So that's, I guess, I mean, it is cool. It's good. It is, I wish this was a bit more simple. And I know, like, I'm being super cryptic because I'm just not gonna. A few years ago, I stopped giving Nam spoilies, and I think that's the way to go because things can happen. But like this thing that I'm working on, uh, I don't have the luxury of saying, maybe we'll do this next year. So. While this isn't sponsored by Floyd Rose, we do love our friends at Floyd Rose. And try one today, won't you? Hank says, it's going to be fucking dope. That is a vote of confidence that I will accept. Thank you. And yeah, so that's since the fall, beginning of fall, maybe I've posted about like the Bouncy House paint booth. You've seen bits of the Bouncy House paint booth on various social media posts and what have you, and it's been it's been it's been interesting to do that again because it kind of like takes me back to like the garage when I built a booth in the garage, and some of you who were around for the Sully's Guitar Garage videos may remember that video where we built a paint booth. And I have to be very careful to choose my words. So it's been cool to kind of go back and to do that again. Like I've maybe not all well. It's been cool to kind of do that again and to go back to like doing just keeping it simple. Like I'm not going to be spraying glossy stuff in the Bouncy House paint booth just because it's like that's just not it's just not the thing. But we can do some open pore stuff, we can do some satins, and we have been, and it's been cool. It's been absolutely disruptive, just like it used to be in the garage, because if I'm doing paint work, I can't really do anything else. So I guess on one hand, it's nice because it's like contained in the Bouncy House mostly, but like overspray gets like everywhere. And we can't have a whole bunch of woodwork going on if I'm like shooting clear, because while there are filters and things like that, it's not like, I'm not like the boy in the bubble playing Trivial Pursuit with George Costanza. And so, it is disruptive. It does take up floor space. Like I kind of missed like the perfect window of when I could do it outside. Or have the booth outside because it is getting a little chilly. So whatever, you may have seen, it's getting a little cold out. Mrs. Sully and I went back to Chicago for Thanksgiving, and that was fun. And got caught in a huge snowstorm, and it's funny. I'm used to, here when we get snow, like even just a little bit, everything kind of shuts down because it's just how it is. And we were up there, and there were some things we wanted to do in the city, and so I'm like asking, I asked my son, I'm like, so, like, I haven't lived there in 20 plus years, so like we're getting like 8 to 12 inches of snow, which is nothing new there, but like, how do we feel about that? We go about our lives, right? We want to go to the grocery store, we go. Yeah. So, but so we decided, we were going to just take the train into the city and go walk down to Marshall Fields, Macy's, and look at the Christmas decorations that Marshall Fields has. The Marshall Fields on State Street. It's like 7 floors. It's gorgeous, and it does me good to go. So we went. We took the train, and it was snowing pretty good, and it's a 15-minute walk. Big deal. But we get off, we get out of the train station, and oh my God, it was just like horizontal, like right in the face, just snow, like just like some real man versus nature shit happening. And, it's like accumulating on our jackets and stuff. And it was funny. I mean, it sucked, but it was funny. And so we made it. And, we walked through Marshall Fields, and it was cool to see. It really made me happy. So, Kurt, a foot or more of snow, and now a polar vortex. Welcome to Chicago/Milwaukee. Yeah, well, I'm very familiar with both of those towns. I was born in Milwaukee, and my parents moved to. My dad's from Chicago, so like we moved back down when I was a little bit over a year. But yeah, and like it's neat because like it seems like it's like snowing there. I mean, it's cool for me to say because like I'm not there, but like it seems like it's like right now it looks like the winters that I remember, like the like blizzard of '79 when it was insane. Anyway, so nature's healing is what I'm trying to say. No, I'm not. But that was really nice to be back there. Kind of made me. It really got me got me hard in the fields, and I don't necessarily want to move back there, but I also don't necessarily don't want to move back there. So, but anyway, grass is greener. New England is in for a tough winter. I believe it. Patrick, how are you doing? You're in Corpus. Are you doing family stuff? Are you doing work stuff? Are you doing both? Are you doing neither? Are you just having a spa day in Corpus Christi? I hope that whatever you're doing there, it is delightful. And yeah, we should have coffee this week. I know we've been saying that for quite some time. Later part of the weeks are always better for me to maybe go in a little bit late. So maybe Thursday? What do you think about that? We'll figure that out later. Oh, football tournaments. Well, go Bears. I hope it goes well and everybody has fun. What else? Okay, so we talked about that. We talked about painting. We talked about the bouncy house. We've got some guitars that we've been finishing up, which is good because that's kind of the thing. We've got some. Do you want to see Dave's guitar? So here's. Let me turn this. I'll mute this. I'll take this out. So yeah, everybody is in Switzerland that's watching. There's nobody, but this is going to our pals in Geneva, Switzerland. Lead music. It's hard to tell. This is Black Sparkle. It is very obvious. It's a very fine sparkly mist, kind of like Jakey Lee's a fine pink mist, but about this guitar, I will say the back of this, it's it's all clear. It's fucking gorgeous. This guitar is dope, and I'm glad about that because it is kind of the goal to make dope guitars. There have been a few, more than a few lately that I'm not sorry to see them go, but I'm like, I'm gonna miss. I'll miss going. Oh damn, yeah, that thing, that's really good. So that's I guess that's a good thing. It's a good problem to have. Kurt, you're speaking my language right now. I really need one of those. Yeah, I agree. And I would like to help make that happen in any way that I possibly can. I'm going to go and put this over here, and then I'll show you Dave's guitar. We're going to get Dave's guitar, and I'm going to show it to you. Everybody party tonight. Who doesn't love V's? Jerks, that's who. Look at this. Again, the light in here. Like, okay, so I've got this LED like over here, but it's just like it's like, where are you the night of the 14th? Anyway, this Revolution is pretty dope, poorly lit, but I'm gonna show it to you. We've got flamey roasty maple. We've got Glamazon green over a quilt top. 27 frets, just in case, like we went to the fret store and I just said, give me everything you got. Yeah, and there we go. Do we make them with flamed maple necks? If you paid for flame maple necks, damn it, you're going to get flame maple necks. This is flamey roasty maple. Yeah, so like as long as I can source it, yeah. Joey. Good morning to you. I would show Joey's guitar, but I've shipped it, and so this has the redacted pickup in the bridge, and the old sausage neck. Hey, sausage neck. We got a push pull. Dave wanted this wired out of phase. Dave likes to get honky in the middle, and so yeah, it's pretty dope. It's really dope, actually. And yeah, I mean, again, the lighting is sorry, but we're doing the best. We're doing our best. Don't worry, there will be plenty of photos here. And like Dave wanted this tuned down super, super low, and it's got like strings. I mean, yeah, it's got strings. Real thick ass strings. So this is practically a bass, but there we go. Yeah, so here's Dave's guitar. Be right back. Let's see. What else we got? What else do we have? What else do we have? I'll show you this. We've got some of these. Guitar Be Sparkle Conspiracy Series Elitas. Sparkly. Hot pink, because fuck your retinas. Yeah, it is. Patrick, Kiki likes a fun guitar. Just saying. Yeah, I know she probably prefers Floyd's. And whatever. It's my. I'm only saying this just because, it'd be good. What else? So this is a Conspiracy Series Elita 24. This is made in by our pals in Korea. We'll have a couple of extra. I have to figure out what the costs are, because wouldn't you know it, there were some additional handling charges added. And so I have to figure out how I feel like handling that. But still, a damn good value for a damn good guitar for a damn good person like you. So Dave is trying to get me to adopt Glamaconda for the name of that Glamazon green finish. And, it does work. But Steve has something very important to share with us. His Astro is super dope. One of the best sounding guitars I've ever owned. That is great. I like that. And I'm very glad to hear that. Steve has a super dope carb top Astro. It's Black Sugar with a Floyd. It is one of the first two. There's a prototype, and then there's Steve's, because there were some tweaks to the carved top that I wanted to make. And then we made those changes, improvements, as it That's what's improving. Just refining. That's the word I'm looking for. And then yeah, Rodrigo knows that's quite the sight. Hey, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Your chat is frozen. Well, that is that's unfortunate. You got to warm the chat up. Chat, why are you frozen? Did I see that you're doing classes again? Yeah, I was about to say I've never really stopped doing classes, but that is not true. I did stop doing classes. Dave. Classes, yeah. I did stop doing them. We kind of piece them in around when people kind of reach out. I used to kind of like schedule them and say, here are the class dates, and maybe we'll do that. But I've just been kind of scheduling them as people reach out. So we won't have for next year, like the earliest we're going to do is March, because we're going into NAMM stuff, and then all of January is just NAMM stuff. And then February is me recovering from NAMM stuff, which the last 2 years in a row has been me getting over being very sick, which sucks. So I'm really good about I don't know. I try and think that I'm really good about washing my hands and no, but airborne stuff is airborne stuff, and but it's just one thing that I wish that would have stayed gone with the whole pandemic is shaking hands. We can just go, hey man, or hey lady, or hello. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, so February is going to be me going, and hopefully I won't get sick, but I don't want to get sick. Anyway. We've got some questions. Dude, your axes are on my bucket list. Well, thank you. There's no time like the present. One thing that I want to and I am speaking to Kelby, but I'm speaking to the greater population. I guess the thing overall that I want to first communicate is that I'm very appreciative for that kind of consideration. I am fully aware how much things cost, and if I weren't, I'm not buying $4,000 guitars. So I'm not buying guitars anyway, because because I'm not. But I get it. They're expensive, and I try to mitigate that as best as I can by, we've got Conspiracy Series line, which if one were to have pre-ordered this, $1,350. Ebony fretboard, stainless steel frets, pickups wound to our specs. It's well-made stuff, and and then we do whatever we need to do to make sure that they are, that's how they should be. $1,350, and again, I know that that's not nothing. So one of the other things that we do, especially with custom orders, is we break the cost up into installments. That often helps. Sometimes it doesn't. That's not the switch that makes it work for everybody. But all of that to say is that I try really hard to make things uh, attainable. So because you know, let's be honest. I mean, my this is my job, and I it's my if I'm not selling guitars, I've got well, this isn't a job anymore. But yeah, so I wanted to make sure that they're as attainable as possible. Oh, Kelly. Oh wait, not so much on the expense that your prices are fine. Oh, thank you. I just hate that I can't have one in my hands to know which one shines to me. I love the Trella, the Raven, and the one that I'm holding as well, which is the Elita. Um, yeah, it's tough when it's tough to buy a guitar when you can't play it. I absolutely get it. There's not a lot I can do about it, unfortunately. And I know that you're not asking me to like, could I borrow a guitar to test drive? I mean, I know that you're not doing that. It is one of those things that's tough, and I don't have the answer for it because like with anything, well, like with other things, most problems are fixed with either time or money or a combination of both. And I don't really have both of those things because I'll tell you, if I had an advertising budget, I would be shoving these things so far down your throats and up your asses that you wouldn't be able to think. You would be mad at me. You would be mad at me. You'd be like, dude, I get it. I'd be like the pharmaceutical commercials that you see. You can't watch something without like 27, at least in the US, without seeing, 27 commercials about, ask your doctor if cat laxatives are right for you. And so, anyway, and I think that cat laxative would be a good punk band name. Cat laxative. So I think, yeah, the coffee has kicked in. What was I talking about? Getting them to the people. So, and again, like, Kelby, I'm not speaking specifically to, but like you're bringing up some good stuff, and I love that about you. So, like, yeah, if I had an advertising budget, I would be, yeah, I would be really taking advantage of that. That's like, one of the things that, Powerball, it's a lot of money right now. And we all do it. We're driving around and whatever. We see the sign and like, oh, it's $800 million. And I'm like, what would I do with that? And quite frankly, I don't really know. I would like to find out. I do take some comfort, and this is something that I realized a couple of years ago, that if I were to come into a vulgar amount of money like that, I wouldn't necessarily retire, which is interesting because I love the idea of retirement. But then, like, I'd be like, okay, well, what am I going to do? So I do know that I would get a newer car. I wouldn't get anything crazy. Um, and then I would put a fair amount of money into advertising these things to the point where you wouldn't be able to move without seeing something Sully Guitars related. Because, quite frankly, kids, that's really the only way these things happen. I mean, it's not the only way these things happen, but it's generally the way that these things happen. You know, yeah. And because I don't have the luxury of lineage, and what I mean by that is, the Sully Guitars has not been around for 70 years, which is good because, well, it's not good. It would be impossible. The next thing you do is advertise. So what can I do? Things like this, and get these into the hands of as like, you know, sure, there are some folks on YouTube that we work with. I am really particular about who those people are because, we get hit up a lot. I mean, like, hey, I would love to review one of your guitars. I don't really care. I mean, that's great. I'm sure you would because you need to make content and I need to sell guitars. And one would think that it's, oh, this is perfect. But like, just like if you're considering buying a guitar that I made, or the Korean ones that I still obsess over and freak out over, and like, oh my god, is this going to be okay? Is this what it should be? You have to know me to an extent. You have to like me. Please like me, and you have to trust me, because you're not necessarily always able to play one. So like, I get that, and I take those three things very seriously. I don't take myself very seriously, obviously, because I do these things. But I do take what I do very seriously. And it is very important to me to try and show you that if you were interested in making a purchase, that it would be well spent. Does that mean that you're going to be, because like, and trust me, does that mean that the guitar that you're going to get is 100% going to be like the end all be all thing for you for the rest of your life? No. I do what I can to, because like, let's talk about necks. You pick one up and you're like, oh yeah, or you're like, fuck that. That's kind of why I make guitars, is because no. And one thing that I found very interesting is that most of our neck shapes, I mean, they're all pretty much the same shape, but the thicknesses can vary, sanding, whatever. But like the 622 that I kept for myself, it's not a special neck profile or anything like that, but it is exactly the same neck shape as this guitar that I had made for me as a 16th birthday present to myself. It was a parts guitar. It still is. It's actually here, but it's just a white Strat, and but the neck, it's slim, and it's a slim C shape, which was it's crazy that it's like identical to like my 622, because none of that was intentional. So yeah, and so if you get to the point where it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna fucking buy one, it's like in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, when near the end, when Indy's taking the step on the bridge, and it is a little bit of that, and you'll either pick it up and you go like, yeah, all right, or and I don't ever want someone to have a experience. So yeah, that's my cool story about that. So yeah, how do we solve this whole thing? You're like, oh, well, you need dealers. Well, sure, dealers are welcome, but I'll tell you, one of the things that we've run into is that, like, people are like, oh, you should get into Guitar Center or Sweetwater, and while that would be good, that could be good, that could be helpful. Those guys don't, like, the big companies, they don't pay their bills quickly, and I don't mean that in a bad, like, oh, they don't pay their bills kind of way, but like they do terms, and sometimes it's you gotta wait a pretty long time for some dough, and I don't know about you, but I can't do that. And so the other thing too is, like, with I'll use the Conspiracy Series guitars as an example. While the cost of them has gone up because when we started uh, with run one, generally my my price points were like bolt-ons are like 10.99, set necks are 11.99. If they have a Floyd, we'll add like 50. And so things have changed since then. We're right around 14, 15. I know that I don't love that at all. I would like to keep things around, I mean, if I could get something under $1,000 that I felt good about, I would love to do that because that's going to make things a lot easier, and it would make people feel a little bit more comfortable because like they're not quite as invested. Like again, $1,000, it's a lot of fucking money. But when you look around, if someone's looking to buy a guitar, being what they cost these days, it's a smaller risk. But going back to dealers, like so when those guitars, I know what my cost is. I know what our retail cost is on them. This is on me for a dumb decision, but like I don't generally build the cost of shipping them to me into the cost of the guitar. So like that's another bill that eats into it. And then now they're even more expensive to get them into the country, and that sucks. And by the time all of those additional handling things are factored in, there's no margin. Like we, especially like once we go through the QC process, there is pretty much no margin in making these. I mean, there might be like I don't have the luxury right now of going through every single line item and whatnot. It's because I got to make the thing right. I got a text. My mom is. My mom said she didn't know that I gave myself a guitar for my 16th birthday. I don't know if my mom's still watching, but mom, if you are still watching here, I'm gonna. Oh no 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 no! That took a turn. She wasn't mad at me, but no, it was my white guitar that I had Steve at Park Avenue make me, and you'll remember. So I was 16. You may remember that like near the end of that year, the guitar was stolen from me and wound up in a pawn shop in Oak Park, and then we had to pay $100 to get it out. And Steve at Park Avenue kind of helped with all of that. So that's. I mean, I could go dig it out of the case, but it's like it's way over there, and like it's fine. It's 1,000% fine. What else? Josh. Oh, hey, it's been a while, dude. It has. Nothing better than Saturday morning cartoons. Yeah. So Brett is telling me 90 days out. So like with Guitar Center, when I was talking about like Guitar Center, Sweetwater, things like that, larger dealers, so like that's a lot of time to be waiting, and that money will eventually come, provided. Well, anyway, it's not really something that is easy to endure. That's true. The other thing too is like dealers want stuff that sells, and you may be sick of seeing other major manufacturers in like, and that's the only thing that's available. And I get it, but if you were a dealer, while you may want to give a small company a shot, you still have to sell the guitars. And if those guitars sit for 6 months or a year or even longer, it's not always in the dealer's best interest to have that inventory sitting because, they gotta, they have expenses, they're trying to be a for-profit business. So like, there really aren't a whole ton of dealers that are willing to um, take a chance, as it were, on a smaller brand. And while we do have some great partners, um, like our pals at Sinister Hand Guitars in Denver, our pals at Island Music in Maryland, um, we've got Guitar Brando up in Canada, and I am super grateful for those people because they are um, willing to work with smaller companies like me, and that's great. But I realize that not everybody lives in Denver or in Maryland or up in, was it at near, like in the Edmonton area? I think that's where Guitar Brand, yeah, like Edmonton. Um, so like, it's, yeah, great, you got a dealer, but you don't have one near where I live. It's hard. You may have heard that the music industry is having a tough time. And that is true. So that means that, not a lot of dealers are taking on new lines. Or at least, it's also, we've tried, like, wasn't the last NAMM, but it was maybe the NAMM before, where we tried reaching out to like a bunch of dealers that we thought would be a good fit. And, whenever it's time for NAMM, you get all of these emails like, "Hey, we're so and so company, and we would like to, meet with you, and do you have time?" And so like, you get a million of those, and it's just noise. So a lot of those things get unanswered, and so it's, I get it, like I get emails about stuff like that, and like, we would like to work with you. I'm like, well, okay, I don't know. So I do think that like being part of the boutique guitar showcase can be a little helpful in that, because we picked up lead music in Geneva, Switzerland. Granted, if you're in the U.S., that doesn't help you out. But pick them up, and then our pals at Island Music, and they are getting some more stuff. And if you're in that area, hit them up, because they're a small shop, and they deserve your consideration. So yeah, what else? Yeah, unfortunately, it's just like, people will say nice things like, "Oh, dude, like, one of these days I'm going to get one of your guitars." And I'm like, again, I am a very snarky person. I keep a lot. It may not seem like it, but I keep a lot in here. And and it's like, "Oh man, one of these days I'm going to get one of your guitars." Well, like, I hope it's before I die. And, so, and I anyway, I want to do everything that I realistically can to help convey that we're doing our best, and in many times that comes out to be a pretty damn good guitar. So that's good. And times when it doesn't, I like to think that those guitars don't go out, or they, whatever. Oh, let's see. Uncle Greg, when I had my shop, I was known for loyalty brands. Oops. And it was very difficult to move a lot of the lines instead of the bread and butter lines, like, I'm not going to name them. It's not a great business model. Yeah, I succeeded at it by being passionate about it and busting my ass consistently, but it wasn't easy. Excellent point. Yeah. So, thanks, Darlene. I appreciate it. In previous lives, I've worked a lot in customer facing roles, and I'm I'm generally a pretty nice person, and it's in everyone's best interest to offer really good customer service. I mean, obviously, don't let yourself get walked all over, but you have to provide an experience. So snarky guitars, yeah, that'll be my partnership with that the tuner company. It's just going to be the whole thing will just be a playable tuner. That's what we'll do. Thanks. That idea, copyright, Sully. What else do we have going on? Just NAMM stuff. We've got, since we're in the boutique guitar showcase, I don't have to bring as many guitars, so that's nice. I started most of our NAMM guitars real early in the year, with the thought by like, I'll have all this stuff done by September, October at the latest. This is going to be a breeze. It has not been a breeze. There's been some frustrating achievement levels unlocked in this process, but it's going to be fine. And we're gonna get the stuff done. So I'm glad that I don't have to bring 15 guitars like I used to and I can focus on just these few, and that's good. I will say that the guitars that you'll see at the show, I think they're going to be a little more vibrant. And I'm happy about that. And they're all just covered in LEDs. I'm not going to do that. Some are, one of which is one of the most challenging things I've done in recent memory. And I'm here at the shop today because I'm going to be working on that after we kind of wrap this up. And yeah, there are going to be some finishes that I've wanted to do for a very long time. There are some things that are just like something that we just came up with a couple months ago. And I'm real happy that our turnaround time in getting things built and painted has really shrunk. That's really great because it allows us to kind of do some more things. Trying to think of, but there's there are some things that like, oh man, I wish we could bring one of these, or I wish we could bring one of these. There's another show called Wood, Wire, and Volts that I was going to try and do both. They run at the same time. And and I think like Wood, Wire, and Volts is more like public facing. It seems like it's a good place to like get hands on guitars, which like Boutique Guitar Showcase is not. And I know that you can demo things, but like, I'm not really, it's a different, I've interpreted it as a different vibe. Yes, you can absolutely try things. There are isolation booths. You can plug stuff in, but, the Woodwire Volts thing seems to be kind of like a more traditional guitar show. And so I wanted to do both, and it would be cool to like have 5 or 6 Conspiracy Series guitars at a table. And, I was really going to try and do it. We had some ideas on how, it's just the funds were not there to do that, which kind of blows. But as I said earlier, everything is fixed with either time or money, or usually a combination of both. And I don't have much of either. Catfish loves the Alita. Yeah, man, this thing's it's pretty fun. Yeah. And what is this? Semi-hollow, glow-in-the-dark Elita double neck acoustic is my, yes, that is, damn it. I really don't understand how someone figured that out. No Dirty Shirley. Oh, so the red amp is mine. The black one is Adam's. That's the Jerry Cantrell thing. He brought it in a couple days ago. It's pretty dope. The Friedman stuff obviously is very good. I really think their names are super cringy. Like I am one of those people that like, okay, so I bought the Jake because I'm a Jake fanboy. If that was called like Dirty Sanchez or Donkey Punch or Stinky Finger or the Shocker or whatever, I would not have bought it. Just because I think it's like, come on, man. Anyway, people can do whatever they want. And people do whatever they want. And so who am I? So I just have to, we all just choose what we want to do. What are the inlays? Oh, here's a great question. Josh, coming through. What are the inlays? They look very subtle. This is very small text, so I'm doing my best. These are slashes. So I wanted to get away years ago from dots. Oh, the air compressor came on. And so I wanted something that took up the same amount of visual space as a dot, but wasn't a dot. Because, like, there's nothing wrong with dots, but they're ubiquitous. It was not too early in the morning for ubiquitous. But I want to try and have my own thing as much as I possibly can. I mean, like, let's be real. This is super fucking derivative. It is. It's one of the reasons that well, it's really derivative. But like, the buying public seems to like it because reasons. And so yeah. But what I can do is come up with little things that differentiate this. Because, like, if you were to look at this versus like an Ibanez Destroyer or the Schecter thing, these are all kind of similar. Not kind of similar, they are similar. But, you come up with some ways to try and differentiate wherever you can. So these are slashes. I like them. I also like them just at the 12th. That's a fun look. So it's clean. Joey really coming through. The Friedman Moist is coming. See, now that's funny because like now moist is one of those words that people are like, ugh. I love moist. You can say moist to me all the time. I have no problem with that. Moist of the time, I think it's hilarious. One thing that I cannot stand though is man cave because that just sounds like your butt. Anyway, so Diego, that's an interesting observation. Are the dots, the slashes, inspired by the KISS logo? No, they are not. Yeah, I don't think I'm like, okay, like a 71 wears a little bit of my KISS influences, but I think it kind of ends with that one. Yeah, good question. Darlene likes the slashes. Yeah, I get bored looking at dots on every guitar. Yeah, hollow blocks too. Yeah, there's another one. Early on we did, block inlays. I turned the first one 90 degrees like Randy's White V, just because it seems like everything that I build is a love letter or a fuck you. And I guess that kind of, I think that kind of sums me up too, pretty well. So, Ray, what humbucker combo did I use and why? Ray, these ones have, these are the Korean versions of the Salty Bastard and the Al Pastor. Yeah, which is, so Salty Bastard is an Alnico 5 magnet. I'm not going to, we don't really need to get into like what gauge the wire is, but it's got about a DC resistance of about 14K, which is a medium high output. It does a lot. The Salty is a really, really, really good default like rock / metal humbucker. I think. I think it's a really good starting point. It's really responsive. It cleans up to like volume adjustments pretty nicely. Like if you think of Van Halen's Drop Dead Legs, and the beginning, and how that it's just kind of rolled off, and then it just kind of gets some gain, turns the volume up. Salty Bastard does that really well. El Pastor is like a slightly underwound PAF. Why did we use that? That particular combo? Because it's good. It sounds good. Or are you asking like in general, like why, like our own pickups? Why do we use them? We do that because it's another way we can try and differentiate things. And I think it works for and against me at some points, because pickup recipes are things that people, especially once you get to the point where you're like swapping out your own pickups and stuff, you find ones that this is your thing, and it's like, oh man, that guitar would be fucking great if it had blah 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 pickups in it. Well, number one, you haven't even fucking heard it yet, so like it's really good as it is. So like much like with the slash inlays or hollow blocks. Oh, that was right. So we did hollow blocks, and then we came up with hollow blocks, and we stopped using blocks because it was one of those things that I wanted to have kind of our own thing. And all of those little things kind of accumulate into like, oh yeah, that's a Sully. Yeah. What else? So, so then like the pickups, we have our own. We have used other manufacturers. I don't like to, but if somebody wants actives, I don't have an active pickup. Somebody want like a, noiseless singles. I don't have an answer for that right now. But anyway, so we have our own. Our pal Dave was so wonderful and put together this insanely comprehensive sound demo of all of our humbuckers. Like he even has the redacted in it, which is like really kind of at the prototype stage. So yeah, you can listen, and it's on a YouTube channel. It's on the pickups page. But it's another way to try and kind of differentiate. Would it be easier if we just put Duncans in everything? Sure. Would it be easier if we just put Fishman or any other major manufacturer? Sure, because it kind of works both ways. It's one of those things where also like if you see, oh, that guitar has that piece of hardware that I know and trust, and that piece of hardware and those pickups that I'm familiar with, okay, it helps you, sure. But like I want to carve out as much of what this silly company is and can be as much as I can, because like if it's got, oh man, I'm gonna run out of time. So all of that to say, I hope that answers the pickup question. I am about to get to work, and I hope that you have a really nice weekend. Thanks for joining me. Be cool to everybody. And Dave, with frequency readouts. Yeah, Dave's pickup demo is groundbreaking with the file. Oh yeah, you can even download the files and put them like through your own DAW and hear how it sounds through your own rig. Dave was really looking out for you. So everybody loves Dave, and big wet kiss on the cheek for Dave.